Gonna redo Coming to Ishgard. And this is my Heavensward outfit, by the way. That's why I wore it, because I plan to do this, so... Here we go.
The dawn's light will shine again. So long as we have these specious accusations hanging over us, we will struggle to achieve anything. You must go to Ishgard, as Tataru proposed. I will return to Uldar and set things right.
Pray, do not be so hasty, Master Alphino.
Lord Orchefon.
I miss that guy.
Full well do I understand your desire to clear your names. But now is not the time for drastic action. You yet have allies upon whom you can rely. There is no need to act alone.
Yes. Yes, of course. Pray forgive my impatience.
I bring tidings. Count Edmond has decreed that the three of you be taken in as wards of House Fortan. Under our patronage, you shall be granted access to the city proper. Pray, consider our manor your new headquarters, from which you may gather information and plan how best to proceed. Needless to say, should any of your missing allies be found, as I am certain they shall, they will of course be welcome to join you there.
You are more than generous, my friend. On behalf of my fellows, I humbly accept your offer of hospitality.
The Count is a good man, and just. He will treat you with the kindness and respect that a hero and dear friend deserves.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause this very quickly and make a couple of comments. One... Oh my god, I miss Hoshafont. I think he is the one... No, there's more than one character, but... It's one thing to read his script after the fact, you know, knowing the kinds of stuff he says. You know, it's one thing to beat the game and remember his sword and shield like you do in the A2 scope. It's another thing to hear the voice actor and relive the times that made him the character he is. He was the first person to be the cheerleader that he is, remembering what happened at the end of remembering what happened at the end of ARR, how much of a black hole that was, and already knowing him, watching this scene was like watching a hat trick. But it was a very serious hat trick. And when I say that, what I mean is, you know, you see somebody who is this supportive, this lighthearted, this really trying to get you out of some of the worst spot of possibly your life up to that point. And his mood is jolly. He is not wavering at all in how he speaks to you or his tone. And really, he just lets it out that it's because he already has a solution for you, and he's all for it, and it's all set to go. Like, he's your literal guardian angel at this point. And all you could do is either say yes or no, you know? And in life, you know, when you have somebody, rarely ever do people get to experience this kind of hat trick, you know, where everything is gone and the person next to you says, hey, guess what? Boom. And you know that it's not false, and you know that he's good for what he says, and you know that, you know, you can't tell the future, but at least with the information you have at the moment, you know that without that one bit of support, nothing would work out at all for any reason. We owe this guy our entire journey. I gotta keep going, hold on. I miss this guy.
To Ishgard, then. Together. There we shall carry on the Scion's legacy. There we shall begin anew.
Hear, hear!
No! Accidentally chose that one again. Yes, we're skipping it. Alright. Cutscene 2. Kind of the one that started it all for a lot of folks.
And so they came, at a friend's behest. Heroes once celebrated as saviors of Eorzea, brought low through treachery, their names blackened with royal blood. With memories of the lost and dreams of redemption, with hope yet in their hearts, they came.
Something about that sound. Yeah, walking up to the doors in the snow was kind of the turning point for a lot of people. If they didn't take our ARR that seriously, if they didn't really think that the story could get deeper at all, walking across that bridge to Ishgard, that whole scene, everything about it, from the music production to the color schemes, the acting of the models, you know, all of it, that was barely a taste of what could happen later, but it definitely decided to go sober, and that caught people's attention, and it caught mine. I remember thinking to myself, what now? And I think that's precisely what you're supposed to think, among other things, but even thinking back on it, reliving that scene, knowing what happens later, it makes me think the same thing. It's like, what's supposed to happen now, you know? I could make a lot of comments about the symbolism of ice and snow and freezing temperatures, but that's a whole other thing. Here, let me try number 3.
To Ishgard, shining city on the mount, overlooking the dominion of Kurthus. A great and proud nation, devoted to Halone, the Fury, ruled by Thordan VII, Archbishop of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. The last bastion of the faith, her walls ever bristling with the sworn swords and spears of her 4 high houses. A land that after 1,000 years of war had forgotten what it was to be at peace. Through gates long closed, the warrior of light and his companions passed, entering at last a city whose history was written in blood. In the midst of the Dragonsong War they came, 3 weary travelers whose arrival would set in motion great change. Though none knew then how great.
Rest. We've been through so much. We've been through so much. Let me see if I can get the rest of my thoughts together after going back through that. Again, it's a minor thing in comparison to everything else we've been through, but dang. Okay. Thoughts. Again, it's just a continuation of what we've already seen. But thinking back on it, revisiting it, being able to see everything without wondering if my computer's going to slow down on me, and actually seeing it with you all as well. I don't actually know if there's anything I can add that I could do so quickly and keep the stream going, so I'm not. But, they sure do know how to bring on the weight. I will say, you know, kind of leaving the opening there, that Heavensward turned out to be one of my favorite expansions, and the one where they really started to hit home how important characterization was gonna be. Heavensward would not be the same story at all had they not driven home the importance of Harshavon and his family in your time of need, in a way, in their time of need, considering what was going on politically and how that affected the people around you. You went from having an entire region, Eorzea specifically, or that area of Eorzea, essentially be your extended home, to suddenly being, for all intents and purposes, banished from it. Then you find yourself in a city-state that previously had essentially banished everybody else from it, only allowed you because one person in there with any power, Count Fortin, decided he was going to listen to his son and take you in. And then he kind of proclaims himself your adopted dad, and his sons your adopted family, and his sons take that home. And then kind of from there, you know, you meet Estinian, and you become close friends with, Amric and all the rest. And the characters of Heavensward really kind of became my family. To this, yet even to the end of Endwalker, all the way to getting done with the whole MSQ and the patches, and the post-Endwalker patches, I still think of Ishgard as home, and I still think of the Fortins as my family. If my character ever were to settle down, it wouldn't be in the house he got, it wouldn't be in the apartment he got, screw the island, he's gonna go back to House Fortin and just go take up a bedroom there and call it done. You know, that's gonna be retirement, is in House Fortin. I am unofficially a son of House Fortin, and that's that, you know? And it just kind of has been since Heavensward, since Count Fortin, you know, said that he considered us his dad. So, considered us his child, rather, and him our dad. So, that has stuck throughout the rest of the game for me. And the boys of Ishgard, you know, and the girls as well, but I'm very much, anybody who listens to me talk long enough knows I have a special love for men. So the boys of Ishgard, Amaric, the Fortin boys, Count Fortin, of course Estinian, all the other guys we've met who may or may not be knights, the other nobles we've met, the younger one that we meet before we meet Hoshifon in the first place, in ARR. I keep forgetting the one who we had to go tell the word idolize to. The boys of Ishgard. You know, the ones who especially are the ones that we've discovered are very good people. There's so many good people in Ishgard. The boys of Ishgard have hearts of gold. I think of Ishgard, I just think of a town full of very noble men, but maybe that's just me. And so whenever I hear the Heavensward theme, dun, 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 I just imagine all the characters, including Hilda and everybody else, just kind of standing there, you know, in their group pose, looking heroic and imposing, and so yeah, the people of Ishgard are awesome people. So here, let me shut up. Let me see if there's anything else I could find to react to after I adjust my webcam. I wish it was better at adjusting itself. Then I wouldn't have to do this every single stream. There we go. So, what do we got? I really want to redo something out of Stormblood. Stormblood was my other favorite. A lot of people don't like it. I think that my suggestion for anybody who happens to not like it is to understand that in Stormblood, at least from my perspective, I will give you my perspective, and you can take it or leave it. Just do whatever you want with it. It's my opinion. And the way I perceive Stormblood, and I think you should give it a chance, is that Stormblood's not about you. Stormblood is about Lys. And of course we don't see Lys for a lot of this. So again, we're not there to follow Lys, okay? We could, but the way that it ended up rolling in the game that we got, we're ourselves. We can't teleport to Lys, whatever. Think about it in terms of, for the first time since you started this whole game, here's an expansion where you get to be a grunt. Here, experience a War of Revolution as a grunt, where you really don't matter. even though you are, you know, bosom buddies with the lead of the story, who is Lise, you're not involved enough in her personal life to be privy to her everyday thoughts about that, or what she might have talked about with Ian about leadership. She's not going to talk to you about leadership, not in that way. You don't have that kind of experience, so no, she's not going to talk to you. You simply are not that person. So understand that much. What you can do is what we did do, which was be a set of arms wherever we could be helpful, and provide whatever empathy or insight or whatever we could as we went. And so for most of the story, we were grunts. And for the first time, you kind of had to sit there and eat it. Were you okay with that? That's how I took it. That's kind of like the undertone that I took the whole way. Are you okay with being nobody for the first time since you started playing this game? Are you actually okay with being almost a literal tool? Not quite in that sense, but very, very close. And what does that do? What does that accomplish? Are you okay with the results? You really didn't get much of a say, you know? You hoped that it would lead to the revolution of everything and free Alamigo. But in the end, you're not one of the politicians doing all of those wheelings and dealings and deciding whose money is going to go where. You were busy doing the footwork to get all this other stuff done. Even when we went into Doma Castle, if you remember that, you went in there and the fighting had already started. You get there, the fighting was in full swing. We were there basically to wrap it up. We didn't help flood the castle. We didn't help storm it. We didn't do any of that. We came in there after they started and wrapped the thing up. And that's what we did the whole game. And so by the time we get to the end of Stormblood, we run across a few people who are surrounded by Xenos who do care about our personal existence. I can't remember people's names. The guy who kept calling us Eorzean, the redhead. A few other people, but then of course I'm going to point out Xenos. He in particular came to care about our exact who we were exactly, you know. And so by the end of that whole game, we were down to maybe a couple of Xenos' henchmen, but one guy overall who cared about our personal existence on that field, and that was Xenos. Everybody else, we were nobody, and I found that funny. So by the time we end up finishing the patches for Stormblood, we go right back to being the center of things. Maybe not the center, but we're back at the negotiating table. I'll put it like that. We are back among the leaders talking. And you know what? Now that I'm talking about that, let's talk. Let's do those. Let's do some of these post-Stormblood ones. Let's do... if I can find it. I know exactly the cutscene I'm looking for. I'm reading the descriptions here. Let's see. Oh, I remember this. And all this was not the most important cutscene, but looking back on it, it really could be. Not the most, but an important cutscene, I'll put it like that. I'm wondering if it'll come back in Dawn Trail. One of those things that wasn't explained very well. I would really like to revisit this place.
Did it work?
No clue.
It did. Ether may flow freely to the burn once more.
I would really like to revisit this thing. I don't recall there being a whole lot of explanation for it. Alright. There's a certain one I'm looking for.
Mistress Lys, Commander Aldin, it gives me great pleasure to formally welcome the city-state of Alamigo to the Eorzean Alliance.
The pleasure is ours, Your Grace. I know I speak for all Alamegans when I say that we are glad of this chance to stand with our comrades of the Alliance.
And we, for our part, are glad indeed to be able to welcome friends both old and new.
Lord Hien of Doma, at your service. Pray, accept my heartfelt thanks for your generous invitation.
Nay, 'tis we who must thank you for journeying so far. And 'twould be remiss of me not to acknowledge the part the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have played in bringing all of us together.
Whew. I don't know about y'all, but looking back on this, it makes me think about everything that's gone up to this point. It is so nice to be able to have Emmerich and Hien at this table. And it was also really nice at the time. I remember just being really glad that they all seemed to get along just so incredibly quickly. Like everything was going to be fine now, you know? Nothing could go any smoother than this.
In times of great unrest, you and yours have been our constant companions, without whom we would not be here.
With apologies to Lord Hien and Mistress Alisaie, it occurs to me that we have not gathered in this way since that fateful day in Uldar.
The day I lost my arm and my freedom. As I lay in my cell, never did I dream that I would one day be given the chance to represent my homeland at this council. I would not even be alive had you not plucked me from the jaws of death. You, Yugiri, and Alphino. Would that the lad could be with us.
I too owe my presence here to Alphino, in so many ways. Until such time as he returns, I mean to carry on his good work as best I can.
Come, friends, let us leave the past in the past and turn our eyes to the future. My Lord Hien, pray, tell us how things stand in the east.
Back to thinking about
Having
stuff.
heard the rumors of dissent in Garlemald, I dared to dream of a peaceable solution.
The Empire will not so easily change its ways. If the Garleans have a mind to take back Doma and Alamigo, we'll be hard-pressed to stop them, even with the might of 6 nations. But while we lack the strength to fight the tide, a course may yet present itself, if we read the winds aright.
The winds suggest but one course to me. One which leads from the sea unto the river and thence to the source of all our woes.
The Ascians.
Indeed. All here have felt their blighted touch. It was the bringers of chaos who nurtured the Archbishop's tyrannical ambitions. They who bestowed upon him the secrets of summoning, as they have so many others before and since. And while they remain, we shall know no peace.
Our objective is clear. The question is how to achieve it. That our enemy parades about in Xenos' skin poses problems in itself, but ere we get to them, how are we to infiltrate the Empire and get close enough to strike?
Okay. This was the first time in the story that everybody really kind of sat down and all pointed the fingers in the same direction. Not the Garleans, you know, the Ascians specifically. And, it stood out to me, maybe too late. Maybe a lot of other people noticed this much quicker than I did. But it was in this scene that I first realized that the Ascians... Okay, so the Garleans, you know, were trying to essentially stop people from summoning. You know? Not that we were first to that. The Ascians were the ones teaching everyone how to summon. And I don't recall if it was before or after this scene that we discover that the Ascians created the Garlean Empire in order to begin a big series of calamities through all of their chaotic actions. I just find it mind-blowing. I mean, it shouldn't be, because the Ascians' MO is manipulation and destruction of worlds through manipulating the minds of those worlds. But creating an empire that you can manipulate because you homegrew it, you know, telling them that they're saving the world by stopping summonings, and we're trying to get the Ascians, yeah, they're doing it. They're telling on themselves. And the Empire that doesn't know any better believes that we're doing it, that we're in charge of it, and they're going to stop us from doing it. Meanwhile, we have no clue, and it's their own people who are proliferating the summoning. So, again, it kind of rings back to real situations with real people on a more one-to-one basis than on the basis of entire nations or worlds. But I just, this is a shout out again to the writers, who put this frickin' game together and went where they went with it, because they could have stopped here and been fine. We all know where they went though. So back to this.
While I see the wisdom in targeting the Ascians, an assassination attempt on Garlean soil would do little to aid our cause, even were it to succeed. It's time we used our enemy's preferred tactic. Subterfuge.
Yeah.
You have an idea?
Speak your mind, Master Thancred. None here know the enemy better than the Scions, and you mayhap best of all. Whatever it is you propose, we will give it fair hearing. On that you have my word.
Very well, Admiral. My proposal is thus. We dispatch the shinobi to Imperial territory. There, they sow the rumor that the Crown Prince perished in the battle for Alamigo, and that the man parading around is in fact a corpse inhabited by a servant of darkness.
It's true. Sorry.
Well, it does have the ring of truth about it. And were the Garleans to learn that their future ruler is a puppet, the Empire would be shaken to the core.
But at the risk of sounding stupid, would they actually believe such an unlikely story? I didn't.
Ordinarily not. But prior to his miraculous recovery, rumors of Xenos' death had already begun to circulate around the Empire. Ultimately, however, what the masses believe is not our chief concern. Our true objective is to create an opening for rival factions within Garlemald to exploit.
Just as a war of succession erupted in the wake of Emperor Solus's death.
A war which raged until but recently, plunging the Imperial House into disarray as nephew and uncle grappled for the throne. It is no coincidence that one of Varus's first acts as Emperor was to name Xenos heir apparent, family feuds being so tiresome when armies are involved. Not all welcomed his choice of successor, however.
Of course.
There is no shortage of individuals who aspire to the throne, who would jump at any chance to seize power. The news that Xenos is not only dead, but a puppet to diabolical forces, would be too enticing to ignore.
The Empire would not be quick to recover from a second war of succession.
I am no stranger to infiltrating Imperial territory. With a team of operatives gathered from among the Alliance's finest, the plan should have a reasonable chance of success.
I would have loved to see this carried out.
Doma already has shinobi in place throughout the provinces. We stand ready to act, and act we must. What say you all?
I'm for Master Thancred's proposal. We shine a light upon the Ascian and test the Empire's unity. 'Twas his plot that scuttled Doma's negotiations, was it not? Why then, if we can eliminate him, there may yet be a chance for peace. Let us wage this war of subterfuge, that we may one day lay down our arms. Gods know we never will while the Ascians remain.
Dang, that got me just like it did at the beginning.
That way. Sorrow.
That scared the life out of me when I first saw that, and it did again. Crap.
History must be changed.
I remember I said, who is this? Because the sentence is pretty clear. History must be changed. The only thing to ask is, who is this?
Ahead looms a calamity. Ahead looms light, expunging all form and life. Twin dooms only you can forestall. Only you.
What's the matter?
There's a voice!
Spies in our midst?
Nay, I sense no such presence.
Let expanse contract. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Is it over?
Nope.
Master Thancred!
For Fend. Bear him to a private chamber. Have every healer make ready. Swiftly!
I remember that one too. And again, looking back in hindsight, you know, knowing where that was gonna take us, I don't think I got any more words for this. I could react to these all day. It's been such a journey. This journey has been wild. Wild's not the word. Gargantuan? Gargantuan is a much better word.